All right. This is Double H here. I decided to do this very important podcast because I've been out of the game some time. People say, where's Double H? Is still alive, still breathing. Where's his heart, his lungs, his spinal cord, small intestines? I'm still alive. I'm here. And I felt that I had to come out because of some distressing news that I found online on the web. Diane Nelson, Miss Diane Nelson or Mrs. I don't know whether she's married or not. They interviewed her, and obviously you know that we've been talking for a very long time about Superman. It's like, what's going to happen with Superman? Are we going to see a Superman movie on the horizon? We already have Dark Knight that's out. Batman 3 is coming as well. Where on earth is Superman? We're talking about Mel Gibson, possibly Richard Donner coming back. Which other directors can come in? Are they going to go for another unknown? We even had a radio show about talking about possible stories we could have for Superman. And then, Dan Nelson, I think I read it last night, that it says, oh yeah, there are no plans for. If people don't know, Dan Nelson is the new head of DC Entertainment. He said that, oh yeah, there are no plans for Superman or a Superman movie for the immediate future. Superman Returns, Singerman Returns for the more inclined for that term, is came out in 06, 07, 08, 09. It's been 3 years since that film, and there's been no word whatsoever of another Superman film to come out. And obviously we heard about Mark Miller wanting his own Superman thingy, his old trilogy thing. Alright, whatever, cheers, one said. But look, see, it's Dan, I think I would call for Dan Nelson's resignation effective immediately. If I was in that boardroom with my suit, I'd say, resign. This Superman is one of the biggest time characters in all this whole comic book stuff. For me, I've never really liked Superman. I never read the comics because I thought it was boring, apart from the death of Superman, which was amazing. But, based on what Christopher Reeve did and what Richard Donner did, and the absolute incredible journey that they took us to in that Superman film, the first film, Superman the movie, which is still the best superhero film out there, big time. How do you come out and say, based on what happened with Superman Returns, you just can't move forward? You just don't know what to do. So instead, we're not stuck with Ryan Reynolds and what's it called, Green Lantern and all that stuff. It is shocking that we are probably not going to see another Superman movie for who knows, another 5 or 10 years. I'll say it again. I will call for Dan Nelson's resignation effective immediately. To come out and say, as the head of DC Entertainment, that you're going to put Superman on a hold, it is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is shocking that you guys can't come together to try and bring out a Superman film that can work for today's audience, for today's world. Because, people online, I've been on Ain't It Cool News, and people, they are pissed off. The majority of people are pissed off, saying that, how can you not think of a Superman film to bring out? It's already in the year 2009, and there has still been no Superman film in production. 09 is basically finished, where we're going into 010, and still no Superman film. It's like, it's shocking. We have said this so many times. Mel Gibson. Has anybody seen Braveheart? Has anybody seen Apocalypse? Has anybody seen these films? Mel Gibson is the man for the job. I cannot think of anyone better to do the Superman character. Yeah, the film, but the character, getting the essence of the character. The hugest of the character. Nobody can do it more justice than Mel Gibson. Because it hinges on the character. And talking about the character, the person who should have been Superman in the first place, Jim Caviezel. guys doing what's it called, some like Viking film or something, like sci-fi Viking film. That's, I think it went straight to DVD. That's where he's at now. So he has time, you know. And that's why, I mean, because I was thinking about it last night, talking to Phantom of Hope about it. You know, the story writes itself. You know, you have stop all this Superman set in the 50s or the 40s, like what Singer was doing. Make it contemporary. Look at the modern world. Look out your window. It's a messed up world. This world is messed up. Society has fallen. You know, the world is a messed up place. People have become messed up. And it would be amazing to see how would this modern world of the year 2G, 209 to be more accurate, how would this world cope with a superhero, a super being? How would it cope with all of its problems? You know, you've got to make Superman contemporary. All this set in the 40s and the 50s, guys, you know, I'm sorry, but the audience is not going to buy that, you know. And a contemporary Superman is still very, very different from this whole Batman thing. You don't have to make it dark. You don't have to make it, oh, let's all be so serious. But it can still be serious, but in a different kind of way. Superman is not Batman. Superman is not dark. Superman is not a peeping Tom. Superman doesn't irresponsibly have children. Okay, Superman doesn't find himself in a hospital where you can visit him in Ward 156. You know, dropping flowers or something. No, that is not Superman. You know, and so yeah. So guys, I mean, I think this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm urging myself to probably write to this Miss Nelson and say, what are you doing? I mean, what the heck do you think you're doing? You know, to say that you're not going to move ahead with Superman, you're going to make a lot of people pissed off, and it's a bad first move to have, you know, coming in this DC Entertainment thing. I mean, I think it's shocking, you know. I mean, feel free to comment and everything, you know, but I just think that it is absolutely shocking that they cannot move ahead with the Superman film. You know, the talent is out there. All you need to do is just screw your brain on and stop thinking about profits, you dumb idiots. You know, put all those profits aside and think creatively. If you think creatively, because this is a creative medium called film, maybe people will want to watch it numerous times because this is actually a good film. You know, but I think, you know, that's too much of a leap of intelligence for these idiotic fools, you know, up in DC. So yeah, that's all. That's all I've got to say. You know, Diane Nelson, get out.